What's up, guys? Going to answer the questions you guys sent me. I don't know if this is going to be all in one video or if this is going to be two parts. It is, I'm here at work, and I do have to work. So we'll see how quickly I can get through these and such. So I want to start with Sam's question, from GTAR training. What would you like to see become trendy that you think the largest amount of people would benefit from? Cardio. Cardio. It's neglected, it's ignored. It is the single most thing that I think most people within the community would benefit from. Uh, and this is not marathon running, of course, but 3 sessions a week of some list type cardio would benefit almost every strength athlete and or bodybuilder. I think most of the bodybuilders are already probably doing some cardio. Um, but it's easily the most neglected thing that would make the most impact. So I would love to see that become a trend. There's even a funny word called fartlick. I love fartlicks. Fartlicks are fucking great. Look it up and start doing your fartlicks. Have you ever dealt with shoulder injury, specifically rotator cuff or labrum, and how did you deal with it? Not really. I had the one nagging issue with my shoulder from the tanning salon that I don't own anymore, thankfully. Uh, but with most injuries, it's just a matter of finding where that pain threshold is and stopping short of that, working in whatever ranges of motions you can to work around it, and getting blood flow to the area. Just generally speaking, I'm not a doctor, and that's not medical advice. I'd be curious on your take as why people typically do unilateral work for quads, but not for hamstrings, hinging patterns. I've actually been programmed single leg, like stiff leg deadlifts before. And I didn't really find much out of them, but that's what coach said, so that's what I did. And it's really awkward kind of doing those hinging exercises. I will say, like, hamstrings, single leg hamstring curls are pretty ubiquitous. I've seen a lot of those done. So that unilateral work does get done for the hamstrings. Just for the hinges, it just doesn't seem relevant in most cases, in my opinion. Whereas it holds a bit more efficacy for quad based movements. And then also it's just awkward, like single leg hinging patterns. It's weird to do. It's weird to set up. As awkward as unilateral quad stuff can be, be it lunging or Bulgarian split squats. I think you can multiply that by 2 or better, just for how awkward like single leg hinging stuff can be. Any opinion on reverse grip? It's fun, but is it worth spending time training on? That's up to the individual. I know a couple guys who say it's a lot easier on their shoulders, and they've got to the point where they're moving just about as much weight reverse grip as they did regular grip. So if you have shoulder issues, maybe it could be of some help there. And it could be fun. Jimmy Cole, does a lot of reverse grip, so I'm not going to say it's worthless. He's one of the best benchers on the planet. But I think for most of us, it's something that if you want to do it, but it's not necessary. When you used the squat plug for the first time, did you warm up first? Did you go right for the extra large? We went straight to the XL, baby. Mama didn't raise no bitch. Short-term goal and long-term goal. Short-term, OHP, a strict OHP 225 for a set of 10. I'm going to attempt that at the end of this training block. Long-term goal, 10,000 subscribers. That would be pretty rad. As a T-Rex, how has your deadlift training been different than what is commonly seen on social media? Anytime I search deadlift training as someone who's locking out just above their knees, my lockout is just above my I feel you. So it's you got to work on the skill of deadlifting off the floor. So that's going to need to be done. And your setup is extremely important with these. In terms of getting in volume, we can't deadlift from the floor as frequently. So doing things like block pulls, or if you have wagon wheels, to get some volume in, RDLs, good mornings, things of that nature. That's we kind of got to get our volume elsewhere. We can't really deadlift as frequently as these lank lords, who are almost standing up in their starting position, whereas we're very much bent over. So yeah, it's fatigue management becomes much more of an issue because they're more systemically fatiguing to us, starting out in the positions we start out in. So I would say nailing down your setup and getting that part of it is, priority number one, and then finding variations that aren't as systemically fatiguing, to train volume with. My thoughts on equipped powerlifting as far as validity, strength relative to raw. Jimmy Cole versus Julius Maddox. As an equipped and raw lifter, equipped is cringy as hell because ton of hardo boomers, but raw is matching donut socks and religiously minimalist training. Those are two very accurate stereotypes, and that's funny, and that's almost, you kind of answered the question for me. As far as strength relative, there is, equipped is much more skill based now. If you listen to like Dave Tate's podcast and any of them talking about it, back in the day, it was still very much whoever was the strongest in the gym was probably going to be the strongest on the platform and equipment, because the equipment wasn't providing as much back then as it does now. Now there's very much a skill curve, and the equipment does a lot. Like there's 400-pound raw benchers, benching 900 pounds in equipment. That said, Jimmy Kolb is strong. He's strong in general. I think on his Instagram, there's like him doing a set of 405 by 20 raw. So not only is he extremely strong, but he's got the equipment down well too. And he's put up single ply numbers. He had the all-time world record regardless of how many plies you used in single ply, which speaks to how well he is with the gear and how strong he is. And then now he's absolutely mastered these new bungee shirts as well. But him aside, I think the biggest issue with geared lifting has been the judging. They just keep letting, awful lifts pass consistently. And that's ultimately what's made geared lifting the meme that it is today, is the judging. And, as an athlete, as a lifter, when you see judges giving away high squats and records being broken and big numbers being put up, well, fuck, if that competitor's doing it, I'm going to go do it too, because I know I'm better than him. So I'm going to, get in on this action. And that's unfortunately led to the state of geared lifting, being what it is in general and not having the respect that it once did. Getting close to intermediate, my lifts have started to plateau. Plus, I'm losing weight with eating the same diet. What am I doing wrong? Well, if you don't want to lose weight, you need to eat more. And if your lifts are starting to plateau, you need to change your variables in lifting, I would say. So both of those, eat a little bit more food, and you've got to change some variable, be it, sets and rep schemes, volumes, intensities, variations, the accessories you're doing, etc. There's all kinds of variables that you can pick and choose from. So you need to change something, and eat more food if you don't want to lose weight on the same diet. Now that you've gone from bloat lord to cross fat king, have you noticed if people react to you differently in day-to-day life? Yeah, like, especially when I was posting, my transformation pictures and stuff, and just in general, people seeing me, they're like, oh, congratulations on all the hard work. And it's like, I've been fucking working my ass off for a decade, the whole time. People don't recognize your work, when you're fat, even though I would say I was even more meticulous with my work, because I was very much concerned about my powerlifting total, whereas now it's not so much. And I don't necessarily have to be as precise with training, at the very moment, as I'm just kind of generally getting after it. So yeah, people definitely, notice my hard work now, that I'm leaner, even though I was working harder and much more meticulously in a past life. Low fat or low carb? Definitely low fat. I like to keep carbs as high as possible, for performance reasons. If you had to work out at home, what would be purchasing other than a power rack and barbell? A set of bands. Me, the guy who makes fun of bands. That's what I would get though. They have a ton of utility. That would be, power rack, barbell, weights is obviously, your three main things in a bench. But the next purchase should be bands. Tips for obese fellas that started lifting in their late 20s and intend to lose weight, slow cutting, recomp. How many? I would just work on, cleaning up your diet, eating clean. The weight should start falling off, assuming you're in a slight caloric deficit. Um, and just, training your lifts, with a basic linear progression at first. You're in that area where you're, novice and overweight. So you're going to be able to put weight on your lifts and increase performance metrics, while losing weight and, getting a better body composition all at one time. So enjoy those newbie gains. What metrics do you use to decide if somebody knows their stuff? Generally, in conversation, when you talk to somebody, if they're very absolute about a lot of different subjects within the fitness realm, they pretty much don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Uh, Anybody with any sort of, skin in the game, education, experience, time in the trenches, etc., however you want to word it, all of these things combined, a lot of answers, a smart person who knows their shit is going to say, well, it depends. And because it does depend, it depends on a lot of variables. And, um, of course, there are absolutes. Of course, you have to be in a caloric deficit to lose body weight. You have to be in a caloric surplus to gain body weight, body tissue. There's water fluctuations. It depends. The scale and the weight depends on a daily basis of a number of factors. But people who know their shit, especially in modern times, you can generally go look on, their Instagram or their Facebook posts, go back through their posts or their YouTube, and they'll have lots of informative stuff on there, or, results of their work. But just in conversation, it depends. They'll say it depends. They'll know that there's usually not an exact, answer. It's going to be dependent on multiple variables, and people who say it depends generally know what they're talking about. What training methods would you like to see people adopt more often? What kinds of things do you think strength athletes tend to overlook that would benefit them to practice? Cardio. I mentioned it earlier. Cardio. That's lacking in the community. And again, not going all out, marathon training, but, incorporating some low intensity, steady state cardio, between 2 and 5 times a week, probably something like that, is something I would like to see more strength athletes adopt, and I think it would be greatly beneficial. Almost everybody I've talked to who's started incorporating, that sort of cardio in their schedule has only benefited from it, both with body composition, strength numbers, recovery, etc. Favorite meals to prep, eat regularly. Lately, so I'll take like 4 to 5 pounds of chicken breast and 1 bottle of G Hughes, sugar-free, barbecue sauce. Season your chicken first, obviously. Throw that in a crock pot and just let it go for like 6-7 hours. Shreds up. Mix that with whatever, vegetables or starches or rice or whatever carbs you want. Um, a lot of times uh, I'll do that with some broccoli, bro. And then for my 2 training days, I'll have broccoli and potatoes or broccoli and rice. But that's super easy, to prep, and it's a go-to of mine. It's really tasty. I also, as far as prep goes, ground beef, I cook it and drain it and rinse it so it becomes really lean, and then just dumping 2 cans of Italian style stewed tomatoes on them. Then if you want to add like peas or carrots or any green vegetable, broccoli or spinach or anything to it like that. Those are probably my two main ones for meal prep that I go to. And then at night when I eat, it's usually just like eggs, something I can cook pretty quickly. Eggs and cream of rice, and a little bit of cream of rice at night. I don't eat a lot of carbs at night. I found I've been sleeping a little bit better. Both eating my last meal around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I go to bed at 8. Uh, so yeah, I'm really boring with my food prep. Now my post training food, on Saturdays and Sundays, I'll get a little wild from time to time because I'm putting in like 4 hour sessions at the gym, and I can justify it there. I've been doing French toast a lot lately, with eggs and butter and syrup and stuff. But if I'm going to eat something wild or some ice cream or something, it's generally on those days. If I was consuming little protein due to being broke and protein being expensive, I feel you. Should I focus more on lifting heavy or training for strength or training for hypertrophy to incur less muscle damage? Worried about breaking down my muscle and not feeding with protein. Purely for strength, I think you're overthinking it. I think you should just train whatever way you want to train. If you're eating in a caloric surplus, uh, your protein number isn't going to have to be as high as you think it is. Um, so just train, man. Don't overthink it. Just try to get total calories in. And if your protein's a little low, as long as your total calories are there, it's not going to be as big a hindrance as you think it is. And when you do get chances here and there to eat more protein, certainly do that. How to get bitches? Pick, be funny, be rich, be good looking. Any one of those can typically get you some bitches. If you're more than one, even better. Just be confident, man. Just seriously, just exude confidence, and don't be afraid of rejection. That is the number one key thing if you want to get bitches. Don't be afraid of rejection. Rejection is going to happen. Everybody's going to get rejected. You can make it a numbers game. If you get turned down 90% of the time, you've only got to try 10 bitches, right? Because 90%, nine no's, one yes. There's a lot more than 10 women in this world. How would you create your bulking meal plan? Would you use the same methods you did before? Would you? If doing it over again, I'd probably do it a wee bit stricter. I've done intermittent fasting on bulk, back in 2016 to control my bulk, and that was a pretty efficient bulk. I don't know. I guess that's maybe how I would do it again. Just do it that way, skipping one meal and still eating in a caloric surplus. What do you think are the worst body parts to get injured? Low back is so debilitating. Like once you got low back issues, it's hard to do anything. It's hard to just exist in life having low back issues. So I think I would kind of go that route. How long should it take you to add 5 pounds to the bench press before you know something is wrong with your program? Other factors. It depends what level you're at, honestly. Like if you're somebody like very advanced, it might take a full 16-week complete build-up macro cycle to attempt to put 5 pounds on your bench press. It might take you a year. If you're very new, you should be putting 5 pounds on, weekly, if not per session, for at least a little bit. But generally speaking, I don't know, I'm going to guess you're probably around an intermediate. If you're not putting on 5 pounds like per training cycle, be that 4 or 8 weeks, there's probably something wrong with either your program or sleep or whatever the case may be. But you should be pretty consistently able to put 5 pounds, per training cycle on your bench press, just generally speaking. But it depends. Peace!